Hi, it's Sue from Savory Living, and in today's video we're going to tackle a mushroom marsala wine sauce. The technique is really quick, it's very easy to do. You can get it done start to finish in about 6 or 7 minutes. And what we're also going to do is I'm going to show you how to prepare chicken cutlets on your stove that are moist, that are delicious, that are done in about 5 to 7 minutes too. So let's get started. What you need for our marsala sauce is the marsala wine, and you want to make sure you're using the dry version. The sweet will not work. You need mushrooms, you need some parsley, and then some thickener. So let's get going. What we want to do with our mushrooms is we want to create the mouthfeel that's going to be in our sauce, because these are the textural elements. So I like to make them somewhat thicker, but you can also cut them paper thin too. And step one is to saute these in a pan with some olive oil till you brown them to the degree that you like. And I'm going to show you, I already have them cooked to move us along faster. This is what they look like. Then what I do is I add my marsala wine to the pan. And I eyeball it to decide how much sauce am I creating and how much do I want. What I want to do now is reduce this down, which means I'm going to cook and the liquid is going to evaporate and the sauce will get thicker. So it's already at a decent boil. I'm going to reduce it down to simmer and let that cook. And while that's cooking, we're going to move on to our chicken. I'm going to move burners so that you can see what I'm doing with my chicken. So the trap that a lot of people fall into is they want to saute their chicken, get it done quick on the stove, but they also want it to be moist and delicious. And you can achieve both, but you've got to coat the chicken to seal in the moisture. So in this case, we're going to work with chicken tenders, which are a little bit thicker than thin prepared pounded fillets of chicken, because I want to show you a technique that's big in Asian cooking to help you get moisture into your chicken while you're cooking it throughout. So what I'm going to start with is the flour. You can use any flour that you'd like. I'm going to use a rice flour just because I eat gluten-free. And you put it in your baking dish. I like using a dish like this because I feel like it contains the flour and lets me shake things around. Then what I do is I flavor my chicken. And the way I do that is I sprinkle on both sides of it a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Then I dust it on both sides, put it on the plate, and then I'm ready to get cooking. So I give it a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, and I dust. So you can see I can shake it. I'm just giving it a thin coating, and this coating will help seal in the moisture. So once you get the hang of it, you can move pretty quickly, dusting, shaking, and preparing your chicken. And the final one, now we're good to go. And now what I want to do is get the fat heated in my pan. I'm going to use a combination of olive oil and a little bit of Earth's Balance soy-free butter substitute. Why I'm using the butter substitute and not just olive oil is that rice flour in particular doesn't get golden brown when you saute with it. So this substitute, when you saute it in olive oil, so this butter substitute for some reason helps that process along, and it just is a nicer flavor, and I also like it to look golden. It's just a presentation piece. I think people feel like their cutlets should look that way, and I kind of agree with them and like mine that way too. So we're heating up our burner. I'm going to put some olive oil in, a little bit of my butter substitute, and you can also use regular butter or just use olive oil, especially if you're using a regular flour, you won't have any problem. And I swirl it around in my pan and get it good and hot. What I want to do is sear both sides of this and brown it. And then, however, because my chicken's a little bit thicker, if I continued to pan fry it in that way, I would dry out the chicken because it wouldn't cook the amount of time that I'd need before it got dry. So what we're then going to do is add a little bit of water in, cover it, and steam it. It's a velveting technique that's used in Chinese cooking. It's a delicious way to go, and you'll see that I'm not compromising the moisture. In fact, I'm adding moisture in, and I also have my delicious outside coating. So my pan's ready. Let's get started. I'm going to put my cutlets in, and you can hear them sizzling. So I want my pan really hot, because what I want to do is get that brown edge and flip it, get another brown edge, add my water, cover, and steam it for a bit. So let's check out, while this is cooking, you can see it kind of moving in the pan. I want to check out my Marsala sauce, which is moving along nicely and just cooking and reducing down. I'm going to turn that up just a little bit more. The other thing that I'm going to add to finish my Marsala sauce in my dish is some fresh parsley. So I'm going to take advantage of the time while things are cooking and get my parsley ready to go. So I'm going to check out my cutlets, give them about a couple minutes aside, and let them get a little bit browner, and then I'm going to flip. So you don't have to eat this Marsala sauce on cutlets or on any kind of animal product if that's not how you're eating. You can also serve it on vegetables. In this meal, we're going to pair it with a dark leafy green because the mushrooms go really well. The sauce adds a kick, and it'll really punch the flavors of your vegetables. So now I'm going to flip my chicken. And brown the other side. The secret thickener to my sauce, so I'm reducing the Marsala wine down. The mushrooms are getting really rich. They're pulling in the flavor, which is awesome. But I know that I like my sauces a little bit thicker. So what I'm going to do is you can either use a cornstarch or an arrowroot starch if you'd like. And you're going to create a paste that I'll put into my sauce. I have to add water to the thickener and create the paste and then pour it in. If I just add the powder, it will clump up and you'll get like a mouthful of it, and it's just not a great way to thicken your sauce. So you'll see I'm creating a liquid that will add into the sauce to help thicken it up. I'm going to turn my sauce down a little bit more, and I'm going to check out my chicken cutlets. They're looking good. They're at the level I want brown-wise. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my water and steam them to finish the cooking. So this can get messy because if you think about it, I'm adding water to a really hot pan that has fat in it. So I've got my cover ready, and I'm shielding myself. I throw the water in, and then I cover it, and I cook it on a medium-high heat for just a couple of minutes because I want that moisture absorbed into my chicken and have it cooked through. So, while our chicken is cooking, let's take a look, and I'll show you where our sauce is. So from a sauce standpoint, I've got the Marsala, which is evaporated quite a bit, and I've got my mushrooms. I'm going to add in a little bit of my thickener, and I'm going to stir it around and put it back on the heat and let it cook a little bit more. The way I'm going to finish it is I'm going to try it and see if it needs a little bit of salt and throw my parsley on top. So, I check out my chicken, and don't be afraid to cut into the chicken because we want to make sure it's cooked through and at the desired place. This needs to go a bit longer. So what does it look like when it's done? Here's my chicken. You can see it's golden brown. You can also see that it's cooked through and it's very moist. Let's take our sauce. I'll move it over here. When I'm assembling my dish, I want to think 2 parts vegetable, 1 part protein. So in this meal, I'm going to do my baby arugula here. I'm going to do my mushrooms and my Marsala sauce, which I actually want to try. Oh, it's nice. I'm going to give it a little bit more salt and a little bit of pepper and some parsley. And I'm going to cut up my chicken. And what I want to do is have the vegetables be the base of what I'm eating and have the protein be the 1 part. So I find if I cut it up and I sprinkle it around, you get the experience of it, but the bulk of what I'm eating is vegetable based. And then I put my sauce over the top. Get these guys out. And there you have it. A mushroom marsala sauce over a bed of greens with some moist and delicious fast pan chicken. So enjoy, get cooking, and until we meet again, live well, eat well, be well.